Claude just murdered your AI startup over breakfast. The brutal truth about AI startups in 2026 is this. Most of them are glorified wrappers around someone else's brain. Take the average AI coding assistant, writing tool, or customer service bot that raised a Series A in 2023. Strip away the branding and UI polish, and you'll find the same fundamental architecture underneath. A carefully crafted prompt layer sitting on top of GPT-4, Claude, or Gemini. The founders spent months perfecting those prompts, building slick interfaces, and pitching investors on their proprietary approach. Then Anthropic releases Claude 3.5 Sonnet with built-in code execution, and suddenly that million-dollar moat evaporates over a Tuesday morning coffee. The scale of this economic destruction is staggering when you examine the numbers. Venture capitalists poured approximately $50 billion into generative AI startups between 2022 and 2025, according to PitchBook data. A significant chunk of that capital funded companies that are essentially advanced prompt engineers with incorporated entities. Y Combinator's Winter 2024 batch alone featured dozens of AI wrapper companies, many of which are now scrambling to find differentiation as Claude projects. OpenAI's GPT's marketplace and Google's Gemini ecosystem offer comparable functionality out of the box. The typical pattern plays out like this. Startup raises $3 to $5 million seed round, spends 18 months building and refining their AI assistant for legal research or customer support or content marketing, gains modest traction, then watches Anthropic or OpenAI ship the same core capability as a native feature in their next quarterly update. The power asymmetry here borders on monopolistic. Anthropic and OpenAI aren't just competing with startups, they're strip mining the entire startup ecosystem for product ideas. They have unprecedented advantages that make competition almost farcical. Access to their own model weights and architecture, allowing instant implementation of features that take startups months to engineer around API limitations. Massive compute budgets that let them experiment with approaches no startup can afford to test. Direct user feedback from millions of ChatGPT Plus and Claude Pro subscribers, creating a real-time focus group that reveals exactly which use cases have traction. Zero marginal distribution cost, since they can push updates to their existing user base instantly. The ability to run features at a loss or give them away free, subsidized by their billion-dollar war chests from Microsoft, Google, and other backers. Consider what happened to coding assistant startups when Claude released artifacts with interactive code execution in mid-2024. Companies like Replit, which had raised over $100 million, suddenly faced a competitor bundled directly into the chat interface millions already used daily. Or look at the customer service AI space, where startups like Sierra, founded by former Salesforce co-CEO Brett Taylor and raised $110 million, are building sophisticated agents, while Anthropic experiments with similar multi-step reasoning capabilities that could be packaged as Claude for customer service in a future release. The pattern repeats across every vertical: AI for sales, AI for recruiting, AI for legal work, AI for code review. If it's working well as a startup, it's probably on the roadmap at Anthropic or OpenAI. The human cost extends beyond founders to the venture capitalists who bet big on this wave. Limited partners, LPs, the pension funds and endowments that invest in VC funds, are starting to ask uncomfortable questions about the 2023-2024 vintage AI investments. A partner at a top-tier Silicon Valley firm admitted in a private gathering that roughly 40% of their recent AI portfolio might be impaired assets within 18 months, a polite way of saying the money is gone. These aren't bad founders or poorly executed ideas. They're good teams who built genuinely useful products that solved real problems. The issue is that the problems they solved weren't defensible against a competitor with infinite leverage. The weekend warrior phenomenon makes this even more brutal. Developers are increasingly sharing stories on X and Reddit about replicating entire VC-backed products in a weekend using Claude or GPT-4. One engineer posted about rebuilding a $2 million funded AI email assistant in 8 hours using Claude projects and the Anthropic API. Another documented creating a competitive alternative to a Series A marketing copy generator in a single Saturday afternoon. These aren't theoretical exercises. The tools have genuinely democratized the ability to build functional AI products, which sounds wonderful for innovation until you realize it also means there's no moat, no barrier to entry, and no reason for customers to pay premium prices for something they could cobble together themselves with a few clever prompts. What makes this particularly insidious is the illusion of a level playing field. In theory, everyone has access to the same APIs, the same models, the same capabilities. In practice, the platform owners can change the rules of the game whenever they want. They can throttle API access, adjust pricing to make margin-based businesses unviable, or simply clone the best use cases and integrate them natively. There's no regulatory framework to prevent this, no antitrust enforcement focusing on AI platform power, and no real recourse for startups beyond hoping they can sell before their moat disappears. The Federal Trade Commission, FTC, has started examining AI competition issues, but enforcement moves at a glacial pace compared to the speed of AI development. By the time regulators understand the problem, the market will have already sorted winners and losers.